Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today we are going to do a look using my Natasha Denona Camel palette, and I'm excited. I want to do more like tutorial-ish kind of videos, at least just showing you how I like use my palettes in my collection, especially now that we're doing these rotating palettes. I think that this would be very interesting to like actually just show you a look using each palette. That way, if you have one of these palettes or similar shadows to these, you can get inspired and maybe create something that you wouldn't normally create. This is gonna be a pretty boring look, if I'm being quite honest, but that's fine. Not every look has to be like, oh my gosh, it's so creative. Some looks just like need to get you like through the day, you know? Like I have places to be. I'm sure you have places to be. Here is the Natasha Denona Camel palette. It's absolutely beautiful. Very, very easy staple palette. Josh got me this for my birthday a couple years ago because I wanted to try out the Natasha Denona formula, and using this, it made me realize I love it. I love her matte formula and I wanted more. So we've accumulated a couple more palettes from Natasha Denona in our collection now, or in my collection now. But this is one of the ones that started it all, the Camel palette. So yeah, I already have a brush in my hand because we're gonna go in with this shade here, which is called Safari. If you saw my palette bingo, I used this shade in my palette bingo, and I swear you could do like a one and done eyeshadow look with this, just buffing it into the crease. So you could just do something like this and like be done. Honestly, like I have a feeling this is probably how I'm going to like rush to work. Just throw a shade like this into my crease and then run into the office. I wouldn't need to do anything else. I feel like I'm put together. I'm good to go. We're done. Just kidding. So I am going to take this shade now. This is called Zand with a Z. And we're gonna go, no. We'll use a slightly smaller brush for this guy and just buff that under. Realistically, I'm just gonna use every shade in this palette to make this look, because why the heck not? Grabbing the brush that we initially used for the first shade and then just bluffing, blending out and fluffing this into the crease a little bit more. That way they just blend together really well. And again, you did not need to do that. Like if you're following along with this, you do not need to do that. Like that was a total extra step. But I am gonna go with this guy, which is a Rosto. Isn't that like a type of rice? Deepen this outer portion of the lid. Really not giving two thoughts about necessarily blending this out yet. We're going to use the other brushes that we applied some of the other crease colors to blend. We just want to apply this right now. Taking a little care, like obviously I'm not like just patting it down and leaving it. I am buffing slightly, but the majority of the blend is going to be with these other brushes that we've put other products on with. I just always use the brushes that I used before. And I always find it makes it look a little more seamless personally. So there's that. I am going to take some of my NYX glitter primer just because the next shade we're going to use is not my favorite one in the palette, and I want to see if this makes it my favorite shade in the palette. And then we're going to take a flat brush. Any flat brush will do. And I'm going to pick up Copperstone, which is the darkest shimmer. Oh man, that glitter glue is really like, I can really feel it sticking. I have to be in the right mood for neutrals, I think. Like I love incorporating color so much, and sometimes these like neutral tones just don't speak to me. But right now I am like feeling this. And on the very inner third, I'm gonna take Dune, which is this guy here. I am going to switch to like my inner corner pencil brush for this, just because I think that it'll be a little bit more precise for where I want this, which is this inner corner and like into the inner third of the eye, just to help brighten that area up. All right, and then when I do stuff like this, there's a couple things that I do. I take the brush initially that had the darker shade, because I don't know if you can see, there's like a pretty distinguished line where like one shade is and one shade isn't. So I'm gonna take the brush that I used to pick up Copperstone, and we're just gonna kind of tap and fluff almost. Like I'm gonna place it overlapping where the lighter shade is and just kind of like fluff it into the other shade. Now you could pick up a little bit of product and just start feathering it inward also. But I tend to like having like a relatively clean brush and putting it on where the lightest shade meets and then buffing that in. And I just find that that helps making it a little bit more seamless. Then I'm going to pick up a different domed like fluffy brush. This is the e.l.f. crease brush, I think. No, e.l.f. Professional Blending Eye Brush. This brush is so old in my collection. I've had it for so long. Man, you can really hear. Now they're like weed whacking. All right, so I'm gonna pick a Rosto up there and we're gonna tap that on the very inner, I wish I had like a closer mirror. We're going to tap a Rosto, the darkest shade, and we're gonna try to get it as close to the lash line as possible. So I find if I look at a mirror that's slightly higher than my eye level, it helps me look up so I can blend like this just easier. Without like, if I was down here, I'd be like tickling my eyelashes and making it a little bit harder to blend and fluff a color into there. So I find just having a mirror higher than eye level is usually the better way for me to do that. And that is done. I am going to pick up a little bit of the shade Zand, which was the second blending color that we used. I am only going to use that on the lower lash line in conjunction with a Rosto. So, and then I'm not picking any product up, but I am going to use that first brush that we used. I'm actually going to like wipe some off on my arm just to make sure there's no extra product. Because I really just want, this is like the softest brush out of the three. And I don't want to grab another brush if I'm being quite honest. Now I am going to pick up a little bit more of Dune and get it right in the inner corner. I like a really intense inner corner. If you don't, you definitely don't have to do this. But I do find that Dune in particular is a pretty soft, like satin kind of shade. So it can lend itself to like a soft inner corner look versus like a really intense inner corner. I am also going to put some on my brow bone, like very, very lightly. And that is really it. So I'm gonna go and put some liner on and mascara, and I'll just be back in a second. Okay. All right, so this is the finished look using my Natasha Denona Camel palette. I have to say I'm actually very, very impressed with the look that I came up with, mainly because I really talked major crap about this shade. Like for the longest time, I've been like, this is the worst shade in this palette. It is partially because it does look like it hard pans over, but it could just be that it's like a cream-ish kind of shadow, because when I glide my finger over where the like hard pan is, there is like pigmentation that picks up on it. So I eat my words. I enjoy this. I really like this. I think that this look is gorgeous, perfect every day. Like definitely don't need to use every single shade every single day. But I can see myself when I have to go into the office, which is gonna be pretty darn soon, for like 2 or 3 days a week. I can see myself really like focusing in on this palette in particular because it's just quick and easy. Like I said, I can just throw one of these like lighter matte shades in the crease and like be done and not have to worry about like putting anything else on the lid. But I'm a little extra and I always think more is more, so who knows. But yeah, that is it. That is everything for this. Like get this like tutorial on like what I would do with the Camel palette by Natasha Denona. Again, if you don't have this palette, do not feel the need to like go out and buy this. This is pretty expensive for what it is. You probably have shades like this if you have any similar-ish collection to mine. I'm sure you have browns in your collection and like a copper shade that you could use. But my neighbors are getting rowdy with the lawn care, so I will let you guys go. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!